Welcome to First Unitarian.
We gather on Sundays to celebrate life, to witness to truth, and to be with each other in life's challenges and joys.
All week long, we're building a community, one connection and one person at a time. We care for each other and our children, we grow our souls, and we transform our world.
We're glad you're here.
Welcome home.
Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Sigamos adelante. Siempre adelante, siempre adelante, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna keep on loving boldly, keep on loving boldly. Keep on loving boldly, never turning back, never turning back. Amaremos con pasión, siempre con pasión, siempre con pasión. Sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna reach across our borders, reach across our borders, reach across our borders, never turning back. Vamos sin frontera, siempre sin frontera, siempre sin frontera, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna reunite the family. Reunite the family, reunite the family, never turning back, never turning back. Familias reunidas, siempre reunidas, siempre reunidas, sin volver atrás, sin volver atrás. Gonna keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward, keep on moving forward, never turning back, 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 never turning back.
Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Rochester, and thank you to Emma's Revolution for starting us off in song. Here, through spiritual connection and community here at First Unitarian, we listen deeply to others and ourselves. We open to wonder and transformation, and we serve together with love and humility. That is our mission, and in terms of our place and our location here, we acknowledge with respect the Seneca Nation, keepers of the Western Door and part of the Haudenosaunee people, on whose ancestral lands First Unitarian now stands. I am Reverend A.J. Van Tyne. I'm the assistant minister here. My pronouns are he, him, his. And leading worship with me today are Chris and Megan and Florence and Tommy and our wonderful choir. We're very excited to have them in the building. Behind the scenes, our tech team and our ushers and greeters and so many others make things happen so that we can all come together and connect on Sunday mornings, whether we are here in the building or connecting through Zoom. And it's not a Sunday morning without all of you folks there on Zoom, so please enter into the chat, say hi from where you are, maybe describe exactly the kind of snow you've got in your area, since we had some snow this morning. Winter's still going strong, even a week after the spring equinox. And if you're new or newish here, we'd love to help you connect with this community. There should be a link in the chat, so you can follow that to help us go deeper with you. And if you're online, please stick around after the service to connect in our breakout groups for conversation and connection. We also are in stewardship season, so there will be a room for How to Pledge, where our Director of Operations, Florence Jessup, will happily answer any questions around giving and stewardship of our church. If you're going through a hard time or you're worried about someone else, we have chaplains both in the chat and here in the lobby. You can reach out to our pastoral care team. We are available. These chaplains are part of our lay pastoral care team, and I should actually correct, there is not one out in the lobby right now because they are here in the building with us. At least the new members of our team are a recently trained cohort that we are going to commission and covenant with together. So I invite up our new pastoral care associates to come on up to the chancel. I will start. Yes. So pastoral care means to journey with someone. It means that you are the presence of First Unitarian with someone in their moment of need. It is beyond being a friend and a fellow congregant, and it is made possible by healthy boundaries of time and space. Sue Ames, Steve Fuller, Ruth Myers, Mary Palmer, Jane Tuttle, Elise Wall, and Elaine, thank you for your love, your service, and dedication to this community. I present you to the members and friends of the First Unitarian Church of Rochester and commission you to provide pastoral care to this body. You will provide this care in relationship with one another and under the leadership of Reverend Sherry and myself and Shannon Foos, our pastoral care coordinator. Know that as pastoral care associates, your primary responsibility is to be present and to provide support to the members of First Unitarian in their moments of need. Do you, Sue, Steve, Ruth, Mary, Jane, Elise, and Elaine commit to accompany this community in their moments of crisis and sorrow, in their moments of grief and growth, gratitude, and all that life has?
Yes.
Yes.
We thank you for your faith in us.
We vow to do our best to live up to the charge you have given us.
We promise to remember that we are doing this work in community and will seek counsel as needed.
We will endeavor to maintain healthy boundaries and confidentiality.
We understand that it is not our responsibility to try to fix another's problem.
We will provide care within the bounds of training made available to us.
All this and more we will do with love and compassion.
And may you be blessed as you are a blessing to this community. And if you'll stay up for one more moment, members and friends of First Unitarian, will you commit to supporting these leaders in their ministry, to reach out when you are in need, and continuing to care for and to be cared for by this community. Thank you very much. In gratitude for your undertaking this service of caring, we provide you with a small gift. May it be a reminder of all the blessings that you bring to this role and how grateful we are for the love that you share with our community. While Chris is passing those out, I'll also say that there are many ways that each of us in our community care for and are cared for by each other. And one of those ways, in addition to listening, opening and serving and being with one another, is also the stewardship of our shared faith. And since it is stewardship season at First Unitarian, I'd like to invite up a testimonial offered by Florence, our Director of Operations.
Good morning. I'm Florence Jessup, the Director of Operations here. I first had the good fortune of encountering Unitarian Universalism a little more than 40 years ago. I was raised in the Deep South, and the milieu around me was Southern Baptist. And so when I went to the Unitarian Church for the first time, I learned that women could be ministers, which was an entirely new thought to me, and that there was a church where I could be who I was. That first principle of honoring the inherent worth and dignity of everyone was very important to me. Over the years, as I've worked for multiple Unitarian Universalist congregations, I have often had people say to me, "Oh, that's that church where you can believe anything you want." From the laughs, I think some of you might have heard that before as well. And I respond to that by thinking, no, it's not easy. This faith is hard because it requires that I act in ways that reflect the values that I say I have. So I have to think about the way I interact with others. I have to think before I act throughout my life. It also means that I need to put my money where I say my values are. This is the time of year, tax time, that I do that. So because I gather all of my financial information in front of me when I'm preparing my taxes, once I get my taxes out of the way, I look at those numbers and I say to myself, does the way I spend my money reflect who I really am? What percentage of my money am I giving away? Who am I giving it to? And I try to give away about 10% of my income. I don't always make it, but that's my goal. And for me, I give at least 5% of that, so half of that 10%, to Unitarian Universalism causes. So I support our Church of the Larger Fellowship, and in particular, their prison ministry program. I contribute to a congregation, a brick and mortar congregation, where I participate in a small group gathering. And I make regular donations to the Unitarian Universalist Association and to the UUSC, the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. And so as your Director of Operations, I wonder, do you have those struggles too? Do you find that putting your values into action is part of your faith development? And if you do, does this resonate now, this tax time? Do you do the same thing I do? And look at your finances right now and see if they match what you say your values do? And so this is the time now that you are able to do that for this congregation. As AJ mentioned, it is our stewardship campaign. I'm here to answer any questions you might have about stewardship or pledging or ways to give or any of those things. So I'll be in a chat room after service. I'm also available by phone or email at giving@rochesterunitarian.org. So if you have any questions or concerns, give me a holler.
Thank you, Florence. Let us now take a breath together as we settle into this sacred time and place. Please join me in our chalice lighting, by lighting a chalice wherever you are and by saying together our unison words. May the flame we now kindle inspire us to use our power to help with love, to help with compassion, to bless with joy, and to seek liberation in the fullness of community.
Check, check, check. Cool. Morning, everybody. A couple months ago, I stopped into the Maurice's, which is a clothing store up in Brockport, where I work, and I was greeted as soon as I walked in the door by a young woman who introduced herself as Kat. She asked if I needed anything, and even though I've been out now for the better part of a year and a half, shopping is still awkward most times. And so I said, no thanks, I'm good, I'm just sort of browsing, whatever. She popped back over a couple minutes later and asked if I needed help with sizing or anything along those lines, asked if she could start a dressing room for me, which I didn't even know was a thing. Apparently it's a thing. That was cool. And so I wound up spending money that I did not intend on spending. Good job, Kat. So, you know, as I got to the register to pay, you know, I signed up for the rewards program and we connected because, you know, she recognized my area code as a Long Island area code and she's from New York City and she's a Brockport graduate. We had this really fantastic conversation. And so really in that moment, it really felt great to just be seen, you know? And so I got the email from Maurice's that said, hey, tell us about your experience. I apologize if this thing keeps flapping. This is why they use the tape, right? Tell us about your experience. And so I got on the website and I wrote a short novel about how fantastic my experience was. And so a couple of weeks later, I stopped back in on my way home from work. And Kat happened to be there, and so she came over and recognized me. Not a lot of folks who look like me out there. You know, if I need anything, whatever. And I asked her, I said, hey, this is going to sound like a really strange question, but do you ever get the feedback that people submit on the feedback form? And big smile. And she said, Chris, I printed it out. It's hanging in my locker. I read it to my mom. I cried. And that, friends, is why we come to church. Because it's a scary world out there sometimes, and this is a place where we lift each other up. We see each other where we are, and we lift each other up, and we make this place not so scary. And so today, of all days, as we celebrate the Transgender Day of Visibility, first of all, I decided I wanted to be visible from space. And so we welcome you and we thank you for being here.
As Chris said, today we are celebrating Trans Day of Visibility. In the fall, we celebrate the Trans Day of Remembrance, where we remember and honor our trans siblings and ancestors who have died very often at the hands of domestic violence or state violence. But today we celebrate visibility. We celebrate those who are alive and those who are living their lives and those who are yet to come. And so this choral anthem originated as a piece for Trans Day of Remembrance, but we've rewritten the second and third verses to celebrate those who are here and those who are still coming.
We are here in the memory of those who have fallen, those who have fallen, those who have fallen. We are here in the memory of those who have fallen, here for the courage to be who we are, courage to be who we are. We are singing in the honor of those who are with us, those who are with us, those who are with us. We are singing in the honor of those who are with us, singing for the courage to be who we are, courage to be who we are. We are dreaming of a future with those who are coming, those who are coming, those who are coming. We are dreaming of a future with those who are coming, coming with the courage to be who they are, courage to be who they are. Give us courage to be who we are.
My name is Megan. My pronouns are she and they, and it is my honor this morning to share with you a poem by the Reverend Teresa Soto entitled Dear Transgender, Non-Binary, Genderqueer, and Gender-Expansive Friends and Kin, and those of us whose gender is survival. You are not hard to love and respect. Your existence is a blessing. Your pronouns are not a burden or a trial. They are a part of your name, just shorter. Some of our kin use only their names, where pronouns would be the names they are called. Remember that someone getting them wrong is not a poor reflection on you. It is not your fault. Your body really and truly belongs to you, no one else. The stories of your body, the names of your body's parts, your body's privacy, the sum of your body's glory. It is not okay for anyone to press their story of you back to the beginning of our liberation. We will find the people ready to be on the freedom for the people way. we will go on. No one can rename you, other. It cannot stick as you offer the gift of being and saying who you are. Mostly, though, your stories belong to you. Your joy and complexity are beautiful, however you may choose to tell it or not tell it. Some folks, cis, CIS, may take their liberty for an unholy license. You are beloved. Please, keep to our shared tasks of healing, getting free. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.
I now offer these words of meditation and centering from Reverend Karen Johnston. Let the spirit of meditation, of prayer, of reflection, of connection to that yearning inside you for something larger than yourself be your company, moving you to sound or stillness, as is your comfort and tradition. Let us slow into this space. Let us slow into this moment. Let us slow into our bodies. Let us find our breath. Let our breath find us. A breath in, however it is your body allows. A breath out, however it is your body allows. Breath in, breath out. Breath to connect to self. Breath to connect to the earth. Breath to connect to the all that is. This connection may bring pain, for the world is crying out. War, legislated hate, violence, misery, inequity, betrayal. May we remember that our pain is not enemy to our joy, not enemy to our happiness, but a pathway through, for the only way out is through. When the world is on fire, when there is war in foreign lands, waking us with fear or anger or sadness, when someone we care for is struggling, when strangers are treated as less than, when family and kin and loved ones are treated as less than. That we feel pain is a reminder that there is no separation. That we feel pain is a signal to our interconnection. That we feel pain alerts us to the presence of and our participation in the interdependent web of all existence. It is this same connection that allows us to feel renewed in surprising ways when we take in natural beauty or behold art that breaks open our hearts, or create art that moves the hearts of others. When we generate grace for others, even when they don't seem to have earned it. When we generate grace for ourselves, even when we don't seem to have earned it. When we move our bodies, however these bodies move, whatever our shape or size, for all our miracles, it is the same connection that allows us to feel emboldened by the love shown to us by others, affirmed in our worthiness so that we might pass on that same courage to others in need of our loving witness. It is the same connection that is fuel, fire, and food, propelling us to truth-telling, even when it seems the risks are too high, propelling us to love more boldly, even when it seems the sacrifice is too dear, propelling us to show up, even when we do not know what it is we are supposed to do. Having found our breath, let us breathe. Having found our breath, let our breath breathe us. Breath in, breath out. Connecting to self, connecting to the earth, connecting to the all that is. Now let there be some moments of shared stillness as our hearts pray the prayers that only they know. Thank you for sharing these breaths with me. Amen, and blessed be. Let us now enter into ritual to bring what is heaviest on our hearts or most present in our minds this morning, and to lay it on the altar of community and spirit, honoring the complexities of life, the grief, the growth, and the gratitude alive in each of us. Online, you are invited to share in the chat. In the sanctuary, I invite you to arrive at one of the altars in the aisles and place a stone in the water for your grief, gratitude, or growth. May we now share in this ritual of community care.
How do I turn it on?
all that we hold in our hearts for ourselves, for each other, and the world is now held in loving community by the larger love that holds us all. May it be so, and blessed be.
I realize I never actually introduced myself before. Hi, I'm Chris. My pronouns are he, him, and his. New Year's Day 2021. I had just finished Dressember, which is a charity that benefits victims of trafficking. I set a goal of $500. I wore a dress every day for the month of December, and I raised $7,500. And so there it was, New Year's Day, and I was staring down a pair of jeans for the first time in 31 days, and I was really, really sad about it. I'd always known, ever since I was a kid, that I was not a typical boy in most senses. It's easy to get lost in the gender binary. It's how society is set up, from the restrooms to the toy aisles to the department stores. But I realized last winter, as I was just going about my business, wearing what I really wanted to wear, what really made me comfortable, that there was really a lot more to it. And so first day of January, staring down those jeans, I absolutely burst into tears. I didn't sleep at all that following night. I spent the entire night searching the internet for me. For folks like me. I knew there had to be folks like me, folks who felt incomplete somehow, being so darned male all the time. Yet I was very comfortable with who I was. I've never faced discrimination. I married the woman I love. My life, I've had a charmed life. And yet that night, I came across the term gender fluid. And it was an explosion of light and color in my mind. It really spoke to me for the first time. And so the following day, I had another good cry with my wife, Emily, about it. We confirmed our commitment to each other, which I am eternally, eternally grateful for her support. I spoke with the folks in my office on campus. And I know I'm very, very fortunate to be working in higher education, which is more open and welcoming than most. Once I realized who I was, I found that I really loved becoming me. Every morning, I lie in bed and I go through a half dozen outfits in my head before I even get dressed. I never, ever, ever did that before when it was just throw on a pair of jeans and whatever the rock concert t-shirt happened to be on top of the pile. I scoured every thrift store and consignment shop in Monroe County. Friends sent me stuff that they had outgrown or didn't need anymore, and I discovered the joys of color and patterns and being vibrantly, unapologetically myself every single day. A friend from college who sews took me to Destiny USA in Syracuse, and we spent 6 hours just walking around the mall, and she explained to me things I never, ever, ever knew. I discovered a little nail salon in Brockport and I met Stephanie, who is an angel. I get more comments on my nails than anything else, ironically enough. Last summer, friends of ours got married, and with the danger of another COVID spike looming, Shelley, the bride, decided to throw caution to the wind. I had planned on just wearing a suit. It's not my show, it's my friend's wedding. She had gotten concerned because she'd originally said black tie, and everyone was kind of spooked by black tie. She posted on Facebook, and this is a direct quote, "The only tuxedos I expect to see are on the wedding party. Unless you want to hit up a resale shop and get creative, then rock that style. Ladies, feel free to use this as an excuse to dress up exactly as much as you want to. Sunday best, great. Prom, cool. Charity gala, definitely. If it sparkles, shines, makes you feel pretty, wear it. You too, Chris." I can't even tell you what that meant to me. So I found a very simple, very, just a navy blue dress, sparkly ballet flats. And we went to that wedding, and we sang, and we ate, and we drank, and we did karaoke, and I had the time of my life among people who I'd known for years. And I looked fabulous. And in every sense, it was absolutely a literal dream come true. If you had told teenage me that at 46, I would not only be married to a brilliant, beautiful, wonderful, talented woman who I love dearly, and we'd have two teenagers who are teenagers. No, I love them too. They're wonderful. And we'd have a big house in one of those developments that I always wanted to live in as a kid. And I'd be hosting weekly pub trivia nights, and I'd be on stage at a charity gala like I was 2 weeks ago, doing a charity auction for the folks at Bavona. And I'd be wearing this the whole time. Teenage me would be stunned that life could be this incredible. I will get the occasional side eye from folks, and I'm going to say folks, and I'm going to actually specify because it's middle-aged white guys who give me the most side eye. There's no question about that. And I kind of love the fact that we're not wearing masks as much as we are anymore, because I love just smiling back at people. Women in my life will express concern about the fact that I'll wear tights or hose when I'm at work, because they're like, why on earth would you do that? And I say, I spent the first 45 years of my life waiting for that moment. I am making up for lost time. And so today, again, as we celebrate this Trans Day of Visibility, I have never been prouder of who I am. And my parting thought is something I read a while back that sticks with me, and it's in my Instagram bio, and I think about it every single day, is to be so completely yourself that everyone else feels safe to be themselves too. Thank you.
Well, that's hard to follow, but I'm going to try. I would like to invite you all now into the spirit of generosity. Today's offering will be split between the work of First Unitarian and our community partner group, Rock Acts. ROCAC stands for the Rochester Alliance of Communities Transforming Society, and it's an interfaith community organizing project of multiracial, interfaith, urban and suburban congregations and groups seeking to train and empower citizens to create systemic change and shape the political, social, and economic decisions that impact their lives. Please give generously.
Draw the circle, draw the circle wide. Draw the circle, draw the circle wide. No one stands alone, we'll stand side by side. Draw the circle, draw the circle wide.
Draw the circle wide, draw it wider still. Let this be our song.
Thank you for that beautiful music and for being together and drawing the circle wide. One of the ways that we draw the circle wide as Unitarian Universalists is by casting a wide net in the wisdom texts that inform our spiritual lives. In our Soul Matters packets, the packets that prompt spiritual reflection that many of the members of this church do in the small group format in our Soul Matters groups, in those packets, the writing team strives to include various world texts relevant to the seasonal theme. Right now, we're of course in our muddy season with our theme of moving through mud. And so the text to include from the Hebrew Bible seemed fairly obvious. Thinking about movement through mud, the creativity of clay and earth and mud and life and humus, led the team towards Genesis 2:17. So this is included in our Soul Matters packet. The Lord God formed humans out of the clay of the ground and blew into their nostrils the breath of life. But that's actually the second creation account of humans in Genesis. It's the second of two, of course. That's the one that I just read is the one with the garden and the rib and the snake and the trees and all that stuff. The first account comes in Genesis chapter 1. God separates the sky from the seas and raises up the land and then creates humanity. And when I read this translation, remember that Adam in Hebrew means man or humankind. It's a collective and singular. So God created Adam in his image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Kind of sounds like the Hebrew Bible here is setting up a gender binary right at the outset of Genesis, right? Or does it? Many ancient interpreters in both the rabbinic and Christian traditions understood that the unusual language here, and it's even more unusual and complicated in the original Hebrew, of course, they interpret this as meaning that God created the first human being as an androgynous person, containing both male and female characteristics simultaneously. Feminist Rabbi Margaret Wenig offers this additional interpretation that this male and female language, that phrase, is what's called a merism. A merism is a figure of speech wherein a large, single, but complex concept is referred to by a poetic phrase that enumerates only two of its constituent parts, of its many parts. So for instance, there are parts in the Hebrew Bible that say old and young, and that would mean people of all ages. Near and far includes people not just right close by and far away, but people in all locations and all distances. And even in the very first line, Genesis 1:1, God creates the heavens and the earth. And the meaning here isn't that God created only those things, but in fact the whole universe of existence and everything in it. United Methodist deacon M. Barclay, who identifies as neither male nor female, but as non-binary, puts it this way. The chapter talks about night and day, and land and water, but we have dusk. We have marshes. These verses don't mean there's only land and only water and there's nowhere where these two meet. These binaries aren't meant to speak to all of reality. They invite us into thinking about everything between and beyond. And so likewise, the Genesis 1 account of the creation of humankind need not reinforce a conservative gender binary, but in fact, it more properly speaks to the real diversity of gender expression that is evident in the world. And that's the thing about twilight, dusk, marshes, and also the trans and non-binary and gender fluid aspects of human gender. They're all evident. They're all pretty obviously, naturally occurring elements of the world that we live in. Of course, the only caveat is that in a mass society and culture like we have in America, one marked by inequality and centuries of systematic oppression based on race and gender and sexuality, Not all kinds of people are allowed the same visibility, the same observability, the same representation. This is one of the reasons behind the Trans Day of Visibility, to combat those oppressive forces and bring up the visibility of everyone. The day itself is coming up on March 31st, and there will be a local event actually in downtown Rochester this upcoming Thursday, the 31st at 6 p.m. There's a balloon display and release event. It is hosted by the organization Next Generation Men of Transition. It'll be at Parcel 5 downtown, but I believe there's going to be a carpool of First Unitarian folks coming from the church from our parking lot here. So check out our newsletter and our Facebook pages for more details on how to connect up with others and attend this event together. This really is essential work, because too much of our society, which is to say any at all, too much of our society denies the reality of trans and non-binary folks, denies the truth of their identities. It says that they are mistaken or misguided. It tries to push them out of the circle, out of positions of leadership and power, out of representation in art and culture and even athletics. And so what's at stake with this question of visibility? Well, for one, there are many reasons, and I won't be able to enumerate them all, but one is that there is a basic human need that we all share to be seen for who we are. It's part of what Chris was talking about when he said he couldn't say how important it was that his friends and families and people saw him and affirmed the way that he expressed himself. We have a need to be given agency over our self-expression and to be celebrated for the unique blessings that we bring to the tapestry of humanity, in who and how we are as beings with bodies and spirits and minds and a gender, no two quite exactly alike on any of those counts. This is the need to have our inherent worth and dignity affirmed by others and by our own selves. And then there's also the need for people to see that true spectrum of gender expressed, to see that visibility, so that they can discern their own identities, so that they can know that they aren't alone. Chris also talked about this in going online and seeing, like, is there a term? Are there people who are having the same experience? Surely I am not alone. So that kids can have role models and know the names of these identities that they feel, but otherwise might not be able to articulate and claim. So there's the need for self-determination and individuality, and there's the need for community, for identity, for shared experiences, for names and categories. As limited as they may be, they can also be liberating. They can be liberating when these names and categories are ones that we can freely choose for ourselves, rather than having them forced upon us. And I'll speak just from my own experience as a straight cisgender man. The more visibility and acceptance that a society or a given community has for trans and non-binary gender expression, the more that I am, as an individual, aware of how gender is essentially a construct, but it's also deeply important to people's identities and selfhood and self-esteem, that they're able to construct that identity in a meaningful way for them. The more that I have all of these, the more that I am healthy and centered in my own masculine identity. Because now I am not just defaulting to what I've always been told that I am, what I've been socialized as in terms of gender. I am actually actively choosing the gender identity and expression that feels most natural for me, even while recognizing my privilege in that what I am and what I have been told I am mostly match up. And I also know that there isn't just one masculinity available to me, right? It's not a binary of it's just this, and there's a very narrow sense of what being a man is, or it's being a woman, and there's a very narrow sense of what that is. Rather, going beyond the binary means finding all the places in between and beyond those binaries, and all the places within the spheres of the masculine and the feminine or the non-binary, and all the diversity that may be there. Simply identifying as a man is not the end-all be-all of my gender expression and identity. The clothes that I wear, the hairstyles that I choose, the way that I hold and move my body are all part of my unique gender expression. For me, that idea of having just the same pants and pulling on the t-shirt and having a very simple set, which does not work for Chris, is absolutely part of my gender expression. And it's all good. And lastly, trans visibility should be celebrated simply because it's what everyone deserves. Everyone deserves this visibility. And it would be wonderful to live in a world where such holidays and special months, special events weren't necessary, because people, regardless of their identities, were equally seen and celebrated and empowered. But that is not today's world. And since it is not likely tomorrow's either, I will find it a joy and an honor today and on Thursday and every day to celebrate trans and non-binary and gender non-conforming lives in our community, to draw the circle wide and wider still, to include the young and the old and all between and beyond, to include the near and the far and all in between and beyond, to include the male and the female and all in between and beyond, to keep to our shared tasks of healing and getting free, to praise the lives whose beauty shows a justice true.
I invite you now to join me in singing our closing hymn, number 182. Please rise in voice, body, or spirit, and let us sing together. Oh, the beauty in a life that illumines honor anew, that models wise and gracious ways to every seeker, that every day shall serve in joy and do the right. Oh, praise the life whose beauty shows a justice true. Let not service of the good be confined to great saints alone, but every hour be part of all our daily living. Set not the hope of wisdom's grace beyond our ken. How wide the path, how close the goal which love has shown. Oh, the beauty of a life that illumines care of the soul, that knows a love that is for self as well as others, that every day embodies praise for every good. This is the path to which we turn our garden goal.
Please remain standing and read with me, speak with me the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May your every day embody praise for every good. May you be seen in your freest, fullest self. And may you bless others by seeing them truly. And may we keep on moving forward, never turning back, never turning back. May it be so.